Imagine setting sail on a grand steamship, the wind in your hair filled with hope for a new life. For hundreds of immigrants in the 19th century, the Great Lakes were the final leg of a long journey to the American heartland. But for those aboard the SS G P Griffith, this voyage of promise would turn into one of the most terrifying disasters in maritime history. Today, we're rediving deep into the tragic story of a ship that became a floating inferno on Lake Erie. The SS G P Griffith was a magnificent wooden passenger steamship, a marvel of its time. It regularly transported families, workers, and tons of cargo across the vast waters of the Great Lakes. It was more than just a boat. It was a floating symbol of progress and opportunity, carrying dreams from one shore to another. But in the mid-1800s, this symbol of hope was about to reveal a dark and fatal flaw. The date was June 17, 1850. The Griffith was steaming across Lake Erie, not far from Fairport Harbor, Ohio. On board, the ship was bustling with life. It was crowded, far beyond its intended capacity, with immigrants from Ireland, Germany, and England, all seeking a fresh start. They had their life savings, their few possessions, and their children with them. The mood was likely one of anticipation and excitement. But that was about to change in the most horrific way. Late at night, a cry of fire echoed across the decks. A small blaze had started near the ship's boilers, close to some highly combustible cargo. In an instant, the situation spiraled out of control. Strong winds whipping across the lake fanned the flames, turning a small fire into a raging monster. The wooden structure of the Griffith, dried by the summer sun, acted like kindling. The fire spread with terrifying speed, engulfing the ship from bow to stern. Panic erupted. The vessel was a chaotic scene of screaming passengers and desperate crew members. The flames raced along the decks, cutting off escape routes. People were trapped. To make matters worse, the ship was ill-equipped for such a catastrophe. There were very few lifeboats, nowhere near enough for the hundreds of souls on board. There were no organized fire suppression systems, no sprinklers. No fire hoses, just simple buckets that were useless against the inferno. The captain, trying to save everyone, made a fateful decision. He steered the ship toward the shore, hoping to beach it. But the fire had already destroyed the steering mechanisms. The ship was now a rudderless, burning coffin adrift on the dark water. The intense heat forced passengers to a horrifying choice: burn to death or jump into the cold, unforgiving lake. Many couldn't swim. Families were separated in the chaos, parents losing hold of their children in the smoke and confusion. The ship burned down to the waterline and sank, leaving a horrifying scene of debris and struggling survivors. By sunrise, the full scale of the tragedy was revealed. Of the estimated 350 people on board, only around 50 survived. It was one of the deadliest maritime disasters on the Great Lakes in the entire 19th century. The sinking of the SS G P Griffith was a brutal wake-up call. The tragedy shocked the nation and highlighted a critical problem. Technology, like the powerful steamships, was advancing much faster than the safety laws needed to govern it. The disaster exposed the deadly consequences of overcrowding, the lack of life-saving equipment, and the absence of fire prevention measures on these floating vessels. In the aftermath, public outcry demanded change. The story of the Griffith spurred a push for new regulations. It led to calls for improved ship construction, mandatory firefighting equipment, and stricter limits on passenger numbers. The disaster became a painful but necessary catalyst for making lake travel safer for future generations. Today, the story of the SS G P Griffith serves as a somber reminder of the risks that early immigrants faced in their quest for a better life. It's a testament to the human cost of unregulated progress. While the ship itself lies at the bottom of Lake Erie, its legacy lives on in the safety standards that protect travelers to this day. It's a tragic chapter in American history, but one we must never forget. Thanks for watching. If you found this story compelling, please hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into historical events. See you next time.